Hey YouTube, this is Southern Prepper 1 and welcome to Boots on the Ground. Let's get right into it. One of our subscribers or viewers here has a rabbit site and it's called riseandshinerabbitry.com. I'll put the link in there, so if you're looking to get some information on rabbits, raising them, this is a wealth of information, so check them out. This comes from a viewer. They wanted to tell me about the medical problems that are still existing. I want to give you an update on the liquid IV calcium. I went into the hospital on January 15th for low calcium, and in the past it only took maybe 5 bags of IV calcium, and it ran through the IV very slowly over several hours per bag. This time the bags were way smaller, and the bag was empty in 30 minutes. After being discharged from the hospital to one of the worst rehab facilities I have ever seen, I called 911 and went to a different hospital. It took 10 days to get my calcium level up to a normal range. I'm now home getting the therapy at home. I know that this was on the shortage list a couple of months ago, and I've been worried about needing the IV calcium. So it looks like to make supply stretch, they shrunk the bag and diluted the calcium. It has never taken me this long to get back to normal. Just wanted to pass this along to your viewers. So there are still shortages, and expect a longer than normal hospital visit. So yeah, I don't know. I can't confirm that they diluted the calcium or if it's just a smaller bag to make it stretch. But still experience medical problems. I've had numerous people about still antibiotics. This person's in Pennsylvania. I was doing some concrete work in my basement last week. I got my cinder block wall and rebar in place and was ready to pour concrete. I went yesterday afternoon to get 80-pound bags of concrete at my local Lowe's, and every bag I could find had holes in the bag. I then realized they only mostly had 2 broken bags on 2 pallets outside and 1 inside the store. All the pallets were mostly empty. I looked at the other bagged masonry items that were in the same aisle and noticed they were very sparse on their inventory. I left Lowe's without getting the concrete. I went to True Value on the other side of town, and they had concrete. I took all they had except for 2 bags, and I only bought 17, so it looks like they only had 19 bags at that Ace. I don't know if there's a shortage of Quikrete, but there appears to be in my area. This is about the Norfolk Southern train derailed in Springfield, Ohio. And another one, this happened a couple days ago. Residents were asked to shelter in place. Just trying to show you that there's a huge pattern. I don't know if it's on purpose. I don't know if it's lack of maintenance. But there's been a lot of increased problems with railroad and logistics. This person says, Mount Shasta, California. I'm about 45 miles from the Oregon border. I have lived up here for over 30 years. It seems more and more people are fleeing the San Francisco Bay Area and bringing their liberal politics with them. The mountain community has always been very conservative. We too had seen record snowfall this winter, and what amazes me how totally unprepared and lack of common sense these city slickers that move up here have. Apparently you can't fix stupid. This and the liberal politics have turned California into a cesspool is why I'm moving out of this state ASAP. Along with this is the cost of living has skyrocketed. I just went into town today to get a few food items before the next storm hit. I'm not a big bacon eater, but every once in a while I'll go to the butcher and order a couple slices. I got 3 slices of bacon. To my shock and dismay, 3 slices were $2.24. A dozen eggs go for $8 to $9 a dozen. Gas is creeping back up to $4.89 a gallon and rising. Just wanted to pass along this information. The tanker truck that exploded on, I guess, US 15 going through Fredericks, overturned on Saturday, killed the driver, destroyed some homes, caused some fires. Basically it was some type of petroleum product and it crashed. So just more reason to be prepared if you're on the highway, you're traveling. Make sure you have what you need to take care of yourself. When folks think the war only happens in other places and not here, it really has nothing to do with me and the United States. Perhaps we can share with them the impact of war on a global and actually the local food chain. And it was basically a study of these soil samples in Ukraine and the agricultural land that has been contaminated. It's been contaminated with all kinds of chemicals and also because of the mines and the artillery rounds and just total destruction. This is going to impact them and their food production for a very long time. They'll definitely have to do a lot of cleanup, and this cleanup will be just regular cleanup, but also making sure that the ground is safe to plant food in. My sister lives in York, Pennsylvania, and notified me that her electric delivery charge doubled from $65 to $130 per month. So that does not include the actual usage charge. So yes, a lot of people are hurting right now because of bills are going up. This was reported about 20,000 people may have been exposed to measles at a large religious event in Kentucky, the Federal Center for Disease Control and Prevention said. In a statement to The Guardian, the CDC said it is aware of a confirmed case of measles in an unvaccinated and contagious individual who attended the large religious gathering in Kentucky on the 17th and 18th of February. So, if you were at that, I think it was the Ashbury University revival, just make sure you monitor yourself. You might want to check in with your health department and just make a call to see what you need to do if it could affect you. I think they were saying that if you're unvaccinated, they were encouraging people to quarantine for 21 days and to seek immunization with the measles vaccine, which is safe and effective. And this is what the commissioner of the Kentucky Department of Public Health says. This is from Jakarta, Indonesia, and Indonesia had a large fire broke out of a fuel storage facility in the capital of Indonesia on Friday, and it killed 17 people, injured dozens of others, and forced the evacuation of thousands of residents. The fuel storage station, operated by the state-run oil and gas company, was actually located near a heavily populated neighborhood. This facility supplies 25% of Indonesia's fuel needs. They, on a investigation preliminary, it said that a pipeline ruptured maybe because of heavy rain or possibly from a lightning strike. He said the fire would not disrupt the country's fuel supply, but we'll have to see if that's a true statement. This is coming from New Jersey. According to authorities, a woman in New Jersey who lives with dozens of cats refused to leave her home after being served with an eviction notice. Police attempted to remove the woman from her home in Roosevelt, but she threatened to blow up the house on Cedar Court, and shortly after, smoke was seen coming from the residence before it was completely engulfed in flames. The woman is believed to have caused the fire by turning on the gas and igniting it with a match. Despite effort by multiple fire departments, the woman did not survive the incident. The fire is suspected resulted from the natural gas. Neighbors reported the woman had lived in the house for several years and cared for numerous pets. They told local media there has been as many as 30 cats living with her at the time of the blast. Animal control searched the scene for escaped cats but did not find any as of Wednesday afternoon. Reports said the owner had sought to evict the woman so he could or she could sell the property. The report about the Walmart Portland, Walmart's closing, I believe there's only two, and that is definitely confirmed. Many articles and many people sent me information about that. I think it's because of the crime in that area. My husband wanted me to tell you of heavy losses being sustained by ranchers here in the West due to all the snow. Locals say they haven't seen anything this bad in at least 15 to 20 years. My husband routinely sees ranchers using their tractors to haul dead cattle, as we hear of ranchers in harder hit areas sustaining even greater losses. Couple that with those of ranchers who have reduced the size of their herds last year due to the expense or unavailable feed. So it could look like beef prices will be going up because of these losses. This is Southeast Washington State. We ordered 15 Golden Comets from a hatchery in Missouri. I went to the post office to let them know we are expecting chicks and to call us as soon as they arrive. We did not want them on the mail truck all day. The lady at the post office says, I hope they arrive in time. Last week's shipment of chicks took 5 days and they were all dead upon arrival. I'm writing you from Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. This is Amish country. A lot of us deal with each other and barter locally, but we also deal with Tractor Supply. I've been told by several tractor supply companies in the northeast area of Lancaster County that they're no longer legally allowed to sell chicks because they're in a quarantine zone. So apparently this is because of some bird flu. It's been so hard trying to find baby chicks, only to find some, then they're all bought up before I can get there. I've been told there was a lot of new people who are buying chickens because they're getting tired of high egg prices. While I support them doing this and becoming more self-sufficient, this is also hurting those of us who normally are accustomed to buying chickens yearly. Luckily, in some parts of Lancaster County, including the southeastern end, there are at least meat birds, no egg chickens though. This is a sign that people continue to stock up and becoming more aware about homesteading. We can't depend on the government or corporate America to feed us. We must be self-sufficient as much as possible. I encourage everyone to find a local King James Bible-believing church. Get connected with like-minded folks. Go to the gun range, farm clubs, talk to neighbors, and build a sense of community in which people you can depend on when things go down. I personally think we're going to see a lights-out scenario as well as digital currency within the next 2 years. With that being said, let's follow Christ and peacefully ignore the government while building our own system within a system. This person said, I operate a wildlife orphanage in northern Wisconsin. We use the same medicines on our rehabs as many farmers do. You may be interested to know that many meds will become scripts only, so you'll need a prescription. And this is going to occur in June of 2023. You'll be advised to obtain some of these things that you need now, if possible. Just want to let you know, I noticed in the past week that every time I go to my local Food for Less, which is a Kroger store, I've noticed that all the canned goods, for example, being canned beans or canned fruit, canned vegetables, some of them are crushed or dented. And they usually were put in the clearance aisle, but they're not doing it. Now they're leaving them on the shelves. And it looks like they're just pointing the good end towards the customer. So hopefully someone not paying attention will grab them and get the dented ones, but the store will then still get full price for them. And this is coming from Southern California. This person, I work in public safety for almost 20 years. I think is in Michigan. I'm a firefighter / paramedic and most recently began working as a police officer. I say that to preference. I am not new to storms or local community-sized disaster. The recent Michigan ice storm had about 750,000 people without power. The amount of calls I had to field the other day was more than I've ever responded to at my local department. I was lucky because many times I work alone, but I had a partner the other night. We had multiple large trees and branches down, preventing the passages of ambulance or fire trucks through our area. One of the main roads out of the city was completely blocked by a large tree across the road. And he says, keep your cutting tools ready to use. Just because you aren't landscaping does not mean you're not going to need it. Check your gear. Power lines were blocking other parts of the city. Many power lines were down across roads. One blocking access on and off of an island. As stated on this channel many times, you are your own first responder. There's no way for an ambulance, patrol vehicle, or fire engine to access this area. That bears repeating. I cannot access you even if I tried. I should add that many people figured they would just drive over the power lines. They figured it would be okay and wanted to argue with me. I told them once they drove over, make sure you're ready to meet your Messiah. Please don't drive over power lines. What I've learned as a veteran prepper, many are woefully unprepared when it comes to heating their homes in a power outage. This is Michigan, where we have real winter every year. Have a plan, have a backup. Understands when you see caution tapes and barricades that are set up after a storm, to make sure you obey those and don't go around the barricades. Many people also lack basic ways to recharge their phones or medical supplies. We had people that had to be moved out of the city because there was no way to power oxygen concentrators or call for help if they needed portable oxygen switched. Completely unrelated, I also wanted to throw this out for people who may or may not know the North America Response Guidebook is worth picking up. This is a book that has many chemical transport signs in it for rail and truck, so you can see what's going past you. So some really good information. Just be prepared. I live in Northeast Ohio, just south of Cleveland. I went to the doctor today to have a lesion removed from my eye. My doctor usually uses 2 different types of medication, and one of them he did not have. So I only went with one. But just more and more people are saying they cannot get what they need when they seek medical care. China announced that it will be boosting its military budget by nearly $230 million this year. and concerns because of the invasion of Taiwan. So yes, China is preparing. There's lots of bad, terrible news about Russia, China, possibly War III. You all know it. I'm not going to go into all the details. I do want to share that the 2 Ukrainian pilots are currently in the United States undergoing training or assessment to determine how long it's going to take to train them to fly the F-16. And this is according to congressional officials and senior U.S. officials. And they could be bringing up to 10 more Ukrainian pilots. Right now it's just training, I guess, in simulators. But yes, they're moving towards, it looks like, giving F-16s to the Ukrainians. This is coming from Hazel Green, Kentucky, and this was actually a news article. I want to read the first part, and I'm going to leave the link so you can go check it out. As he claimed the first spot in a mile-long line for free food in the Appalachian foothills, Danny vividly recalls receiving a letter announcing that his pandemic-era benefits for help buying groceries was about to be slashed. Kentucky lawmakers have voted to end the state's health emergency last spring, and he will be cut from $200 a month in aid for his food down to $30. So this area is a very poor area, and they had like a food drive, or not a food drive, but they were giving away food, and the line was huge. There's a huge need. Go check this article out. You might live in an area that you're not seeing the need, but the need is definitely there. So if you can help someone out, please do. Support your local food bank. They're counting on people that have it right now to be able to get other people through terrible times. Thanks for watching.